Roma is a new period piece drama film that was released in theaters in a limited capacity a few weeks ago in November. And a couple of weeks before I'm doing this video, it actually released on Netflix, so I got a chance to see this movie and now I get a chance to talk about it. And it's directed by Alfonso Cuaron. If you don't know who Alfonso Cuaron is, I direct you to Children of Men, which is one of the greatest sci-fi movies I've ever seen in my life. He got Prisoner of Azkaban. He directed that movie as well, the third movie in the Harry Potter series. He also directed Gravity. I recognize not everybody's going to like it, but screw it. I thought he did a good job with that one too. Check this out, guys. This is how you know that Alfonso Cuaron went above and beyond for a film like Roma. Not only did he direct this movie, he produced it, he edited it, he wrote it, he even did the cinematography for it. The definition of doing everything you can to make yourself a part of the experience. This is probably a guy who tried to get extra credit on everything he did in school. I considered it extra credit if I at least tried to flirt and get the numbers of every girl in my class by the end of the semester. Unfortunately, back in those days, I was only batting about a 380 or something like that, but as life experiences would teach you, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Roma is actually a pretty simple story. It takes place in 1971. It takes place in this place called Colonial Roma, which I believe is a part of Mexico City. It follows the life of this housekeeper named Cleo who lives with this family. I would probably call the family upper middle class if I had to guess. That's it. That's really the story. It's really about the ups and downs of her life living with this family. Visually speaking, this movie, good Lord. I almost don't even have the words to accurately describe how insanely beautiful and gorgeous this movie is. Like, I almost can't do it justice sitting here talking about it. I don't care what phrase or terminology you want to use to describe this movie. It can be eggs on a tit, it can be omelet titties, it can be McGriddle booty for all I care. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever phrase you want to use to describe it, that's what this movie is. Every single which way that a movie can look beautiful, every single which way that a film can be shot in the best way possible, this movie does it. Alfonso Cuaron and the great people working on the cameras with this movie, they freaking did it. Shot composition, shot structure, lighting, texture. The entire movie's in black and white, which really adds to the atmosphere of the time period. Beautiful long wide takes, the Dutch angles, the mids, everything about this movie from a camera work perspective was just it was just perfect. This is a movie where the visuals definitely accentuate the aesthetic and the tone of the movie, because if you actually look at the story for the movie, it's a story that feels very personal, it feels very intimate, it feels very self-contained. I've heard stories that the actual story of this movie is loosely based on Alfonso Cuaron and his life experiences growing up in Mexico City. In that sense, the movie is kind of an autobiographical take on the whole thing. You can definitely feel Alfonso Cuaron's passion with the camera work and with the way that he directs the actors and actresses in this movie. I regret to inform you that I cannot remember the names of the actresses in this movie, especially the actresses. I want to single out pretty much each and every single one of them. Everybody who knows me knows this is just one of my bugaboos, okay? I struggle remembering the names. And the funny thing about it is, I'm probably going to look up their names after this video is done, and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, them. Okay, why couldn't I remember that when I'm shooting the review? Trust me, guys, it happens a lot more often than you would think. Like, it happens like every other video that I forget to mention somebody's name. Can't remember your names, nor can I probably pronounce them, but every single actress in this movie killed it. I do want to point out, this is also one of those movies that definitely has a strong message about feminism in it. I don't mean feminism in the sense that it beats you over the head and it's in your face and it's very loud and upfront with it, where it's like, no, women have to be way better than men. No, it's feminism in the sense that it shines a light on the plight and the struggle of women that lived back in that era. It makes you sympathize for the way that women were treated back then, the way that some women are still treated in different ways today, and it definitely does a good job at bringing to life the strength of women, like the actual strength and willpower of women and some of the things that they go through. I'll also say this, due to a certain tragedy that I have myself experienced in my life, there is one moment towards the third act of this movie that definitely moved me, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, when it comes to this movie overall, I have to say I felt kind of emotionally stunted by it. And by that, I mean that the movie felt kind of thin to me. It didn't really do a good enough job at making me feel the movie. Like, I saw the movie and I appreciated the movie visually, but it's one of those things where it just didn't do enough to engage me or get me hooked or get me engrossed in the story that they were trying to tell. This is a story where I feel like the people and the characters in this story don't really have their own voice. It doesn't really feel like we get a lot from their perspective. We don't actually get to feel it with the characters. I feel like they could have done a better job at making fully rounded, well fleshed out female characters. I'll put it to you like this. If I'm watching porn and I watch a video where a girl pulls her tits out of her shirt or whatever, and they're really great looking tits, and I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty gorgeous. Just because I'm enjoying seeing gorgeous tits and a great body on screen, that doesn't mean I actually get to experience the clapping of the cheeks. If I'm not personally clapping the cheeks, I can't actually feel that emotionally invested in it. I'm just watching it because it looks really good. Boy, that porn metaphor made a lot more sense in my head than it actually actually made sense when it came out of my mouth, but I feel like most people should be able to get what I'm saying. Because I felt kind of emotionally detached from some of the things that were happening in this movie, it made the pacing of this movie drag a lot longer than I felt like it should have. I get it that Alfonso Cuaron was trying to sink us in the moment and trying to get us hooked onto the atmosphere of the movie, but I feel like the visuals already did a good enough job at conveying that without making every scene feel like it was an extra 10 minutes long that it didn't need to be. I liked Roma, but didn't love it, and I will put it in the Silver Age for Man of Steel. Those are my thoughts on Roma. Let me know what your plans are for Christmas tomorrow. Are you going out of town? Are you spending it with family? Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show. Stay tuned for more videos, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace!